it is interesting though, because I feel like the way it's positioned now, people that are more like yourself, like have focused on different avenues, probably will be in a better position musically as well. Which is interesting, right? Like if you really think about it, the music industry itself was quite like old fashioned, like a little bit archaic,
Yeah,
right? It was a simple business model. Like, it's just
yeah,
you sell records, you sell out shows, and they
yeah. That's
hadn't
how it
really
used to be.
thought
Mm.
too much beyond that. Um, and pretty much everything that's come in, they push back against. Like
Mm.
streaming, they push back against. Like YouTube and all people like having music on YouTube, they push back
Mm.
against. So it's like they're kind of fighting against it, but now it's like the people who have put themselves in that position to have like an online presence will
Yeah.
should at least like benefit quite a lot
Yeah.
from
No, you're right. You're right.
the situation.
Talking about the music industry being archaic, um, Kanye's been screaming for the last few weeks about trying to get his masters back.
Yeah.
Um, what have you guys thought about all his rants? I mean, him pissing on the Grammy and everything. Like,
Not gonna
Admin, you can
lie,
go
I
first,
haven't
man.
personally looked into it. So I'll let
yeah.
Aces go because I wasn't I haven't been
See that he
following
pissed on his Grammy? You didn't see that?
president.
To be honest, I didn't even see that. Like, I just saw the tweets that he put
Wait,
out,
you man
and
didn't see him piss on the Grammy, bro.
nah, bro.
No, 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 I haven't seen that.
I just saw the tweets that he put out, and I retweeted it, and I'm like, yes, facts.
Yeah.
Like, because like as an artist, it's really important that you own your masters. You know, like your masters is like the most important thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So him trying to get back his masters, like there's a lot of weight that your masters holds. Do you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's just like nowadays as well, like loads of artists are trying to do things independently. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like you don't really need a label anymore. But one thing you
Do you
do
think
need,
labels are outdated now?
like I don't think labels are outdated. Well, I mean, well, they're becoming outdated, but remember, like labels have still got connections and they've still got a network, and that's why people kind of want to go to labels
Yeah.
because they're like, they've already got certain connections,
Yeah.
they've already got their foot in the door, they've already got like the marketing budgets and the budgets to push you.
Yeah.
So that's why I would say like leverage is so important, but that's why like you should have like another business that is gonna help you
Mm.
put money into your music. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? So you can kind of become your own label.
Yeah.
But without that, it's like you would need a major label, or you would need to sign to a label.
Because I
So
think, I mean, I've always been sort of lent on the side of independent people being independent rather than labels, but I sort of understand that being signed into a label is, firstly, not everybody can be independent. Secondly, signing to a label definitely has benefits, and but I just think if you look at it now, I mean, Kanye West he's reached the summit of music. Like he's literally at the pinnacle of music. His masters are probably worth 500 million. He said he's got the money to buy them, and they won't sell it to him. So it kind of begs the question, like, why is it they won't sell it to him? Is it because they recognize that they basically got it for a steal, and now they're making 80% off of everything he does, compared to him who actually put the work in, made the music, only making 20%. And basically, I just think, I don't know, it's kind of made me lean even further towards the whole either staying independent, or when they artists go and sit down with the labels, trying to do some sort of deal where it's not like a permanent thing and you get your masters, or and even looking at outside of music, the same thing's happening with Joe Budden trying to sort of his dispute with Spotify. Obviously, they ended their contract with their contract with Spotify ended and they didn't renew it. And he's talking about the same thing. It's like um, these sort of big corporations are kind of just trying to they're building their sort of wealth off of the hard work of the content creators, of the creatives, the artists, etc. And they're not sort of trying to compensate the creatives in the way that they should, which
yeah,
I think is wrong, to be honest. And I think the sort of the industry, something has to happen. The industry has to change because the creatives continue to get shagged, basically, and I don't think that's right. So
and it's
Yeah.
always
But
like
how
that,
do you
man.
change it though? How do you change it?
I don't know, because I don't think
You
pissing on your
can't.
Grammys is the way to go about it. But I mean,
No, no,
Kanye
that's just funny though. That's just like
yeah,
that's
Kanye
entertainment.
was
Yeah,
trying
how
to
do you
get the
change it? That's
biggest
what you
artists like together. He's been saying, "Oh, I want to talk to Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick. I want to sit down with all three of you. Let's get our masters back. I want to win everyone's masters, or get everyone's masters back." But I think coming from Kanye, it's difficult to take it seriously because of his past ranting on any and everything, and also because everything he does seems to have a sort of egotistical side, kind of selfish aspect to it. Like I reckon if Sony and Universal called him up and said, all right, you can have all your masters back, then you wouldn't hear anything else. You wouldn't hear him talking about trying to get masters for everyone else, because once he's sorted, I think but I don't know, like he might actually trying to change the industry and get everybody to sort of have ownership in it. But I just think it's important that the sort of ownership aspect, I think, is very important.
And that's what Nipsey Hussle pushes, man, and that's why I'm such a big fan of Nipsey, you know, because he pushes ownership and everything like that. So
yeah, no, I think it's super important, because
super important.
No, but I'm just saying it's difficult, right? Like if you're talking about someone signing their first contract or whatever, like
which will probably be a 360 deal, so you're gonna get like messed up anyway.
Yeah. So how do you solve that? Like you can't. I mean, even if you got the masters back for everyone who's currently in the industry, how do you stop people from signing away their masters?
Yeah.
I feel like people nowadays aren't. Well, I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs, because people don't really sort of detail their deals and stuff. But I feel like that at least the knowledge is out there that when I come to sit down with a label, I don't have to just take what they put on the table. I can actually negotiate, see if, because I've heard that there's these like deals where you can sort of license, like, so for a few years it's basically you use the label as a services company rather than being under the label. So it's like you use them for the marketing service and the sort of press and all the things that they can get you, and they get a sort of cut and everything.
It's kind of like publishing, like a publishing deal.
Yeah, and once you, like a pub deal, and like once you,
or like a single deal or an album deal.
Yeah, and then
I feel like single deals and album deals are good. It's better than, you know, you signing away your whole name.
It's like once you.
But you need to know what you have to do that, right? Like you need to like know what is possible for you. Plus, you probably need to have someone there, like some sort of a team, someone to help you with the contract negotiations. Like,
don't take their lawyers as well, because that's what they do. Don't take their lawyers as well, because a lot of them will tell you, oh, look, if you need a lawyer, we got a lawyer, but that lawyer's a part of their team. So you go and listen to this lawyer, and you know that label's within the lawyer's best interest. So they're telling you this and that. You sign a deal thinking you're good, but that label's lawyer is their lawyer. Do you know what I mean? And that's happened.
Yeah,
that's happened a lot.
Yeah,
man. You always got to read the fine prints on contracts in any situation.
I was looking into. You see the Joe Budden thing, because I feel like that's quite pertinent, because a lot of podcasting is kind of blowing up at the moment. It's becoming an industry in itself. So obviously there's going to be opportunities flying left, right, and center for all sorts of podcasts, and I feel like people are sort of looking. Like people sort of saw, all right, I've signed with Spotify, so I've kind of made it, kind of thing. And now he's here complaining about him making more money off doing 8 episodes of his pull-up show on YouTube. He made more money off that than doing 2 episodes a week on Spotify for 2 years. And it's like, I think, because I looked into it and I saw that the reason Spotify, I've noticed a lot of the streaming companies are sort of trying to push the sort of podcasting aspect of their platform. And the reason they're doing that is because they don't make much money off of the music streaming, because the labels take so much out of it. Because obviously if you want to have an artist's music on your streaming platform, you have to sort of pay the label to have, because the label is the master, so you have to pay the label to get all their music on the streaming thing. And they've realized that with podcasting, there's no music, like record labels that you have to go through. So you can get access to the content without having to pay this mad overhead and stuff. And that's the reason that firstly music, like artists see such like small amounts of money from the streaming, because like they make like a quarter of a penny or something like that.
0.004 pence per Spotify
it's mad,
stream, bro.
Because it's terrible. Like, bro, and it's like, and I do understand to an
1,000 streams is like £4. Like that's
I do understand to an extent, because I saw the other day Hamza, she's an artist, a UK artist, she's an R&B singer. She tweeted that if everybody that all my monthly listeners on Spotify just bought my album, then she would recoup and she'd be fine. But the thing is, like, people that your monthly listeners aren't your biggest fans. Like, Spotify allows you to sort of be a window shopper. You can just listen to an artist here and there. You don't have to be invested into that artist. But at the same time, I think it's just a shake. Like, if the platform is built off of these people's content, to give them what do you say, 0.0004 or something of a penny per stream, it's a bit of a piss take. And then even when Spotify did their they had like a conference or something, an event earlier in the year, and then the question was put to the CEO of Spotify, like, are you going to change the sort of model to make it a bit fairer for the creators, for the artists and stuff. They basically said, nah, like, you just need to put out more music and just like agree with our algorithm and it will work for you. And then they point at examples like Drake and stuff. It's like, bro, like, not everybody is going to be on Drake's level of streaming where they have 1 billion streams and they put a song out. So it's like,
yeah, you can't really use Drake as the like.
But even Drake has a massive machine behind him, you know.
I mean, Drake is another one he doesn't own his masters either. He's off his deal now, so moving forward, he's probably eating way more. But
he's still hella rich though.
He's
still hella rich, but as they say, too much money ain't enough money. You know, that's what Lil Wayne says in one of his.
But the way I see it is like, if it's a bit like what Kanye was tweeting. It's like, I feel like artists so far, I feel like we've been sort of blinded by the sort of extravagance and the wealth and everything. And then it's even on Stay Scheming when Drake says that bar about like tell Lucian like to clear out the budget for me or whatever. And Lucian he's the CEO of Universal, I think. He gave a interview saying that, yeah, basically whatever Drake wants, we just sign on the dotted line because it's Drake, yeah. But the point is, if Lucian is deciding how much money you get, then you're being shagged still, because regardless if he gives you 500 million, it means he's giving you that money. It means he's got more, and he's making more of your thing.
Of course, it's an investment, man. It's an investment. Do you know what I mean? So like people, I think people have to understand labels as well. It's like they're investing in you. Do you know what I mean? Because it's an investment. So like you can't be mad at me if you're coming to me with a business proposition and you need my help and I expect something in return. You can't be mad at me. Do you know what I'm saying?
I would say what they expect in return is too much, though.
But then it's up to you. It's up to you to sign that, and that's what the deal is. Like, that's not my fault. I've written it on a piece of paper. You come to me, I'm gonna give you, say, like, to keep the math simple, £100, and in return you give me £1,000. It sounds crazy, but I put it in a contract. Yeah. You signed it. That's not on me. That's on you to sign.
I definitely think artists need to take some accountability for sort of agreeing to these dodgy deals and stuff. But I think just now, especially with all the information that's available out there, I feel like something has to change. I don't know if there's like a union for artists or something, but I feel like something has to change because it's just there's too many examples of, and even massive artists like Megan Thee Stallion with not the other day, but like a few months ago was talking about how she only made like 15K or something off her first project. She made something tiny off of her first project, and the label ate all of it. Which, to be fair, if you come to someone and you're just, listen, I've got some dope freestyles out there, and they're picking up traction, I feel like I can be a massive artist. They still have, it's a massive risk on their part. They have to put.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And remember, labels sign a ton of people hoping that one will pop. So they've still got to pay for the little artists as well, you know? So it's like they'll grab like a bunch of artists, say like, I don't know, to keep the math simple, 100 artists, hoping that one of them will pop. But they've still got to pay for 99 other artists, even if that one artist does pop. So they need to take money from that artist to cover the expenses of the other artists. So so it's like, like obviously, like people are against labels, whatever, but you have to understand like the business model as well. Do you know what I mean? And at the same time, like I was talking about this the other day, when it comes to business, there's not supposed to be emotion with it. You're not supposed to, share emotion with business. That's why, like, when it comes to trading stocks and stuff, that's why like a lot of stockbrokers go broke and a lot of traders go broke, is because like they trade off of emotions. Okay. You can't trade off of emotions. Okay. It's the same thing for business. You can't do business off of emotions, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's supposed to be completely emotionless. So when it comes to like the labels, of course they're going to move cold-hearted because it's business. So like if I start a clothing line, you're my bro and whatever, but you can't expect to get 50% off of me just because you're my bro. Like, this is a business we're talking about. Do you know what I mean? So you need to understand I have expenses too. Yeah. That t-shirt must have cost might have cost me God knows how much. My profit margin might not even be that high. And then you're still coming and asking me for discount? Do you know what I'm saying? So like that's what I'm saying. Like, just because you're my bro, like, you're my bro, look after me, whatever. But business is business, and to be good at business, you can't attach emotions to it. So it's just like you gotta like we look at it from like the artist perspective, but you have to understand the label's perspective as well. And as an artist, obviously, I would look at it from the artist perspective, but as a business owner as well, I look at it from a business perspective.
I think I just think it's good that even if Kanye doesn't succeed and get his masters back or whatever, I think it's good that at least some more of a spotlight, because it's not like Kanye saying anything new. People have been talking about this forever. People have been talking about it all the time. But I think somebody like Kanye just sort of drives home the point that even the most successful, because you can't, like, Kanye is effectively the most successful musician. Like, he reached the pinnacle of
for sure.
music,
Long time ago.
Yeah, like everyone else. Like the pinnacle that any artist would be aiming for, Kanye's reached it. And if even he's complaining, that shows that something's deeply wrong. And at least it will sort of get people to be a bit more, when they come to sign and stuff, they'll be a bit more wary about it. And also, I think it will shift the perspective. Like, you see, when people sign a deal and they celebrate, oh, I've signed with blah, 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 yeah. I think, obviously, the overwhelming reaction is usually one of, like, congratulations, well done, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but I think, sort of, obviously, they're not going to reveal the details of their deal, but just sort of looking to see, rather than rushing to heap praise on them for signing, sort of looking to see what kind of deal it is, because there's a lot of people that celebrate when they sign. A couple years down the line, they're like, bro, I wish I'd never signed that thing. Like, look at Nadia Rose. She hasn't been able to drop me. I mean, she dropped something in summer, but prior to that, she hadn't been able to drop for a couple of years because the label was there blocking her and everything. And like, now you might even argue that she sort of missed her window of when she was most popping. Because when she had sort of some songs that were popping, the label blocked her from putting anything else up. So, but yeah, no, I think that's
like they use manipulation tactics. So I've been reading the 48 Laws of Power, right? Okay. And if you read the 48 Laws of Power, like, you understand, like, manipulation tactics, but there's a lot of, like, manipulated people in our society that we come across every day that may manipulate us even subconsciously. And, they might not even know that they're manipulating us, but they're manipulating us. But whenever it comes to, like, like the top CEOs of the world, like, they're very manipulative people. Like, people to argue that, like, they have psychopathic tendencies, because they do. They have psychopathic tendencies. But that links back to business and having no emotion with the business. So I feel like when it comes to labels, they definitely use certain principles in the 48 Laws of Power. Like, they use deceit, like, they use this, they use that to drag you in and to get you in. And then as soon as you're in and as soon as you sign that line, it's like, that's why they call it selling your soul, because you've already signed that dotted line. Do you know what I mean? Like, that signature means everything. Do you know what I mean? And then it's just like, okay, because you sign that line, now they can really manipulate you. If you're talking about, like, leaving a label, okay, we're not going to let you drop anything. If you're talking about this and that, okay, like, like, we're going to mess up your budget. Like, you've already made us some money. We don't have to make you any more money. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, they can really be manipulative like that. That's why, like, it's important for artists to understand the deals that they're signing as well, because I've spoke to UK artists and I've asked them, what deal did you sign? They don't even know the deal themselves.
I mean,
and I'm like, that's crazy.
This is what Joe
I've heard, like, one artist, I'm not trying to say his name, but from the UK, saying that that his label takes 80% of his streaming income, and he only takes 20%. 80%.
And the streaming income isn't even mad like that ever. So
I'm like, that's insane. I don't know what deal that was, but it's crazy. And especially, like, when it comes to 360 deals, sometimes it's like, even if you have, like, a business outside music, like, they can still take profits from that.
That's what's
like, they own you.
360 though, like, what
like, the 360 was like everything, like merch, streaming, merch, streaming, shows, everything.
Because they realize that artists are making majority of their money.
Basically, you're saying, like, pretty much all profits that come in.
Yeah, because they realize that artists are making the majority of their money with their brand.
Exactly, but even from other business, if you was to set up another business, even, they can still take money from that, even if it's not music related.
That's what Spotify was trying to do to Joe Budden and them lot. They were trying to take money off of Rory's Lollapalooza thing. It's like, bro,
Spotify.
It's like, he's had this thing,
like, yo,
trying to take money.
Let's just see what they say.
Bro, and he was like, bro, I've been doing this for, like, are you dumb? Like, do you listen to my podcast? I've said about how shit 360s are. You think I'm just gonna sign everything away like that?
But their perspective is probably the one from the perspective, like, the reason you're
popping the way you are
is so big, or the reason your like Lollapalooza is so big is because of the visibility we've given you through the podcast. So I mean, that's their perspective.
Yeah.
That's their perspective.
I don't know how true that is, man. I think definitely in a lot of cases at the start it would definitely be, if we didn't throw this mad marketing budget behind you, then you wouldn't get to this level. But also in a lot of times it's like that's the whole point of recouping. Like, all the money they pour in for you to put out the album and everything, you make that back off the album. So now that I've made, it's a bit like if I paid a mortgage on the house, yeah, and then I finally paid off the mortgage and the bank still owns the house, I'll be vexed. I'll be like, bro, so why was I paying this thing back? Like,
No, but the bank makes interest, right? They don't just earn it back.
Yeah, there's an interest. But even once you recoup and you've paid off all the interest, everything, like they still don't give you back the masters. And then, so it's like, so why am I recouping? Why am I paying you back if you're gonna keep it anyway? Like,
yeah.
Because I think labels, you know, like they want like lifelong relationships from the artist. Because if the artist is giving them the bag, then why are they just gonna, you know, stop getting the bag when they can still receive the bag?
That's why even when Kanye has the money to buy the masters back, the masters are worth half a billion.
Because they can do that, yeah, like they can do that now anyway. Because they're like, well, we own your masters,
yeah, we don't.
So we have something on you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So then
it's just happened with what's his name, Diddy and Mace.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's yeah, man. I don't know. It's like there's a lot of angles you could take with it, looking at it as well. Because if you look at the demographic that owns these labels compared to the demographic that are making the music,
exactly. Yeah.
There's a whole aspect.
Everybody knows about that. Everybody knows about that, but like sometimes you gotta look at it like, you know, like I agree with obviously, you know, like what you're talking about with the Spotify and Joe Budden stuff. Sometimes it is like, well, it's like if you keep going, you know, your own way, like you might not have got all of the success that you have. Do you know what I'm saying? So sometimes like you do kind of need to, I wouldn't say you do need to, but like taking certain steps and going on certain platforms would for sure help you. Yeah. And it's like if it wasn't for those steps or that platform, then you wouldn't have gotten to the place that you are today. Do you know what I mean? And that's just what it is. So at the same time, like, you know, sometimes you got to kind of like count your losses and look at it like, well, like I wouldn't have made $1 million if I didn't, you know, sign to this label. Even though they made $5 million off of me, I might not have made $1 million in independent route.
No, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? So you've got to kind of like look at things like that and like weigh it out. So that's what I mean. Like it all depends like what you want. You know, like you might have wanted to make $1 million all your life and you signed in that deal. You made $1 million. Like you've already accomplished what you wanted to accomplish. Do you know what I mean? But then you could be somebody else where it's like, you just want to make as much money as you want. So you look at that $1 million like it's petty. Like I made $1 million, but I want to make $1 billion type thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it depends on like what angle you're kind of approaching it on. And at the same time, like a lot of these labels, as I said, like they have ownership over you, so they can tell you when to drop things. They tell you the type of music to make, the type of artist to do features with, what to wear, Again, manipulation.
Yeah.
They control you.
I mean, it goes into like literally every industry. I mean, I saw a video the other day. It was Big Nasty talking about his show, the Big Nasty Show on Channel 4.
Oh yeah, now my boy was talking about this.
Yeah, you're saying, right now, saying the stuff that they offered him, everything they offered him.
They offered him like 2K for a series or something.
They wanted to offer him $1 grand an episode and stuff, and then he was just saying that he kept saying no, etc. They kept coming back, increasing the budget. Even though he kept saying that no, we prefer if we could see the budget before we make a decision on how much to sign for, and they'll leave and they're not coming to tell him the budget. They just because like these lot have peas to give us. And I'm thinking, fam, if we're the ones making the, I mean, I'm not an artist and stuff, but I don't have a show or anything. But if I'm the one making the content, I should be making the majority of what's going on. Like you guys technically you guys are helping me. You're working for me. So why am I not making the most? But yeah, man, I'm all here for Kanye and his cultural communism, man. I'm on it, man.
But the 48 Laws of Power talks about that. Like they talk about kind of like putting out a figure, and then when somebody hears a figure, kind of pulling back, because then it's like, how do I explain it? Because then it's like, so like, all right, so you basically make somebody feel like they need you more than you need them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you'll put out a figure like, do you know what? Like, I'll give you, say, like 2K for this episode, and I can do X, Y, Z for you that will get you here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then he's like thinking, and then you just pull back. You just be like, okay, well, do you know what? Like, you took too long to get, you know, to contact me back, whatever. You fall back. Then now the other person's in like scarcity mode, innit? Because they're thinking, damn. And then when they come back to you, then you'd be like, well, look, like it's gonna have to be 6K now because I offered you 2K before, but you didn't want it. Do you know what I mean? And you still kind of play off of the hope that, you know, if you sign for this, I can get you that. Do you know what I mean? And if they don't take it there, you do the same thing again. You'd be like, well, now it's gonna be, you know, like 10K, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Well, actually, in this situation, you're going back down. So you'd be like, rather than 2K, it'll be, you know, 500 now, and it'll be like 100 now, and da. So that's kind of like how it works. But that's like another manipulation tactic that a lot of people don't know about. Do you know what I mean? So That's why it's so important to do things DIY, because at least you understand skill as well. And you know what I mean? It might take you even longer, but at least you haven't got to worry about people controlling you or whatever. And you might just make enough to get by, but at least you have freedom, like, and freedom is the most important thing. Freedom and
I remember I watched the episode of Half Past Podcast not too long ago.
I watch that all the time.
Yeah, Poet was on it, and I mean, Poet, I'm not always the biggest fan of him, because I feel like he chats a lot of shit, and I feel like he always goes on the most roundabout route to get to whatever point he's trying to make. But he did say something on one episode. I think they were talking about the Joe Budden thing, and they were talking, and he was, they were talking about Kanye, I think, and he was talking about, basically he said, if you don't have a plan, you're part of someone else's plan, which really sort of sat with me, because I'm like, it's true. If you come into this thing and think, I just want to blow and stuff, but you don't have some sort of plan, they're going to use you. And then not only that as well, he talked about when he takes these interviews, meetings with, big sort of production companies, big TV channels, whatever, he always tells them to come and meet at his yard. And they were saying, oh, why not come to the office, everything. And he basically said, like you were saying, the manipulation tactics and all that kind of stuff. He's like, it's
more
kind
personal.
It's like, if he's having to step into their space,
it's more personal.
They've already got a sort of dominant in the interaction. They're kind of dominant. Whereas if he's in his yard, he said, listen, I'm comfortable. I'm here in my pajamas. You guys are the ones that are uncomfortable in my house.
Exactly.
And it's like, now let's talk business and stuff. And I think that was very that was very telling to me.
It's good that he knew that, though, because a lot of people don't know that.
No, and it's
the same thing
out there so that other people can understand.
Other people can understand, like, see, but that's a manipulation tactic.
Yeah, because everyone's wearing a suit and it's a big office and everything doesn't mean you should sell yourself short.
Again, perception as well. It's perception as well, you know, like, just because you see them in suits and everything in a big office, it's perception. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So like actually the 48 laws of power, they talk about something else. It's like, if somebody takes you out on the mill and offers to pay for your food, don't take it. Because as soon as you take it, then they're like, okay, well, I know that he likes freebies, like he likes free stuff, You know what I mean? I know that I can give out a little something and he's going to take it. Yeah. So don't take it. And then they'll feel like, because...
I might still take the free meal, but
and then they'll be like, yeah, but like they can understand that, like they can understand your character. And then they'll be like, well, because I've done this for you, you got to do something for me now. Do you know what I mean?
That's what people think. I'll be like,
no, it is though. The thing is,
that's what people think, bro.
Depends what you want.
Yeah, but that's how the average man would think. You give me something, I have to give you something back, because then you'll feel bad, like, oh well, you know, he did, like, you know, like he did give me this and So that's kind of like how it is. That's another manipulation.
You make a good point, man. About depends what you want. I think my point is, I want people to want more for themselves, especially artists and stuff. I want them to want more than just getting a gold chain or getting a whip or whatever. I want them to want more, because
assets. It's about
because I feel like it affects all of us as well. If they're signing away all their ownership in this thing, then we come to. I mean, I remember seeing it all the time when during the whole Black Lives Matter protests and stuff, people posting stuff. They say, like, you know, black culture keeps the world moving, etc. They say, how can you care about so much about our culture but not about our lives? And I'm thinking, brother, we don't own the culture, so obviously it's not like there's anything stopping them from coming in.
We were talking about this yesterday as well,
caring about black lives and stuff. So it's like,
talking about this yesterday,
some of the onus needs to go on the artists and stuff for signing away all the ownership so that they can get a whip or some chains or whatever, because it's like, you can't do that, sign everything away, then turn around and be like, oh, you guys consume the songs but you don't care about black issues and stuff like that. That's I kind of just, even though I understand, it depends on what people want, I want people to want more for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like, but remember, like, if people don't educate themselves, then they'll never know this stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's so important. That's why
there's no excuse for not educating yourself.
There's no excuse, bro. People think...
it's not like you have to go uni to learn this stuff. This stuff is
100%.
No, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like, if you
I probably know more things than the average person that goes to uni. You know what I mean? Because I read a lot of books, I watch a lot of podcasts.
No, I'm just saying, if you educate yourself and you know how it works, and you decide, like, I would rather take the deal, and like,
yeah, man, that's
manage the things for me, and they're gonna take a cut, but I might, like, potentially have a bigger earning potential.
Yeah. More power to you. I don't
unless you want people, because then you have to change the way that people think about money, and that's not specific to music. That's just in general.
That's business.
But the thing is, as well, though, even if you do all the educating and everything, I don't believe anyone that's done the educating and stuff will like educate themselves about everything. Will turn around and say, I want to take a 20% cut and let the label have 80%.
If I tell you that 20% cut is still equates to you getting $1 million versus doing it yourself, probably you're.
My point is, it's not one or the other. It's not like do it all yourself, but it's just like negotiating so you get.
Yeah, there's negotiations, but I'm just saying like I would assume there are some benefits of signing with the label. You get the budget,
there is.
you get like someone who plans your stuff out.
Yeah, there's definitely benefits.
So it's just like it would have to be dependent on just a lot of things have to change. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's a start. It's definitely a start. We should educate people, but like a lot of things will have to change.
But then again, like it does depend on how you use your money as well, you know. So you can be an artist that has an 80-20% deal, but if you invest your money in the right things, you know, you might boost up that 20% to another 80%. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So then,
that's what Kanye did, and now he's got the money to try and buy it back. But they say
exactly.
Yeah, because for the label, they're saying that these masters are worth more than
exactly. And they own it, so they can sell it. Exactly. It's like you're trying to buy it back from me. It's like you sell me this bottle right here. You know what I mean? I brought this bottle for £1, and then you really want this bottle back. I can sell it to you for £20. And then you're looking at me like, what? But like, you bought it for £1. I don't care. This is my bottle now. I own it. If you want it, you gotta buy it for £20. I'm sorry, but you do, because this is my bottle now. I own it. It's only fair. It's crazy.
No, but it's even more than that. Like, if he's willing to buy it for $500 million, that means it currently is worth $500 million. So then they're saying, on top of that, all of the future stuff that like like the radio play is going to get in the future, the advertising is good, like projects is going to be on in the future in terms of samples, etc. That they might be saying, I think it's worth more than what you are willing to pay for it. Like, so, but that's what I'm saying, because Kanye is like off of that, whatever the deal he signed, he then went on to do so much stuff, right? Like he got that clout. Now he's doing Yeezys. Now he's doing 100 other things, right? I mean, so then what you have to say is like, because from the label's perspective, and I'm not even trying to take the label side. I'm just trying to like, from the label's perspective, you could look at it like, I mean,
you wouldn't have made that without me.
Like I don't see why you have an issue. Like the weird like reason that you're at the level you're playing at today. So
I mean,
trying to buy these things back. That like there's like my return on what I paid for you.
Yeah, that's true. Because the label's not obliged. I remember on that episode that of the half cast, Poet was trying to make it out like the labels have to listen to Kanye. I'm thinking, bro, they can air him for the next 100 years.